Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Trevor Plays Video Games while he talks sports, or Trevor talks sports while he plays video games, one or the other. Doesn't really matter. So today we're going to come at you with some NBA 2K18, my team. I've played a few games already, so we're going to just hopefully get a little bit farther into it because I got trashed in Call of Duty last time, so I decided to not play that again. So hopefully I can win this game at least, and hopefully it'll make me easier to concentrate on the both the content and the game. So today we've got a good lineup, of course. We've got some we got the World Cup action because with Germany, falling at the hands of South Korea to just an atrocious ending. So we're gonna go with that. We have my opinions for the top five quarterbacks in this draft, and in the draft that already happened, it's top five quarterbacks and why each one is like just the ranked, like the way they were drafted, and then the way I rank them. So we're gonna go with that, and then we also have the lineup. We got places Kawhi will go, ideas and opinions for me, best teams for him, best teams for the Spurs to trade with, and best options altogether, and where I think he will end up. And then we also have a nice quick little one of will Kawhi or will LeBron actually leave? So that one's gonna answer relatively shortly. So we're gonna see what happens there. And then the last one is one that was given to me right before I started recording this of top five players I would start my franchise with in the NFL, including with roster with salary not mattering, but age and injuries all factoring in. So we're gonna start it off with Germany. So the World Cup 2018, Germany, they were the favorites to go back to back. They did not, obviously. So it could have been the first one since Brazil in the 50s when Pele, I believe, was on there. But they could not, they obviously could not do it. They lost the first one to Mexico. After that, I was like, oh, they're not doing, they're just not the team they were. And then they came out swinging against Sweden. But ultimately, that was not enough because they, they had to scrap one against for the final goal. Tony Cruz with the absolute bomb of a shot, but which just wasn't good enough to obviously propel them through. Because once they played South Korea, we'll just say it was one. I mean, it was 2-0, but it was pretty much 1-0 because the last one came into essentially garbage time, for lack of a better term. So that was ridiculous. But that's what happens. That's the World Cup for you. Four of the last five teams, I believe, that have won have gone in to lose in the group stage of the next World Cup. So it's not anything new, but it is interesting because Germany came into the World Cup as like obviously the strongest team and what seemed to be what was gonna an easy favorite to win the whole thing. So that was not enough. So they're not even out of the group stage. Their run is done. So let's see. We also have Mexico. They were in that group, and they have just been playing out of their minds, other than when they got trashed by Sweden. But we're just gonna not count that, I guess. They played well. They got second in the group stage behind Sweden, I believe. So I think they're a dangerous team. They'll be fun to watch. I believe they're playing Portugal or Brazil in the first round of the knockout stage, so that'll be a fun one to keep an eye out for. Spain, they have two ties and a win, but to me, they looked like the strongest all-around team. I mentioned this in the first one. They're strong looking. They have, if they can finish a little better and not have to rely on Diego Costa doing all of it, they can be oh man, they are just a good team up top to bottom. They have a good keeper, good defense. They have strong forwards. Everything is just good about this team, and I believe that they'll make it deep, if not win the whole thing, because they are definitely primed for it. So we also have just a few other big names like Brazil moved on, no problem. Uruguay moved on, no problem. Argentina just had to barely finish that one out. With Messi finally scoring one, they took it over Nigeria to obviously push them into the next round. So that was pretty clutch moves because they also had another goal at the end of the game to advance them. So it was clutch and it was fun. So we're gonna hopefully see how they do. Maybe they'll start to hit their stride a little bit after a very, very poor performance in the group stages, other than the last game. Finally, after losing to obviously a team with what 400,000 people, so of Iceland. So that's Messi finally decided to hit stride, and then we also got Portugal. Ronaldo is just absolutely on a tear. He's just unstoppable out there. But we'll see if he can continue that. My guess is no, but if he can, goodness, that'll be one of the greatest, not even just the best World Cup performance, that'll be one of the greatest sports performances of all time, because he's just been absolutely going insane right now. So that'll be fun to look out for. So that's all the little World Cup recap I got for you. Just big names moved on, and then obviously Germany being the one that didn't. So one that so the next topic I think, or I have, not I think I have, is just a little fun one that I've been wanting to talk kind of about, but I never really had the chance, and now I do. Of I think who I think is the strongest, like of the top 5 of the quarterbacks that were drafted. Who do I think are the best ones? So obviously in the order that they were drafted was Baker, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, then Lamar Jackson. So my quick order is it goes Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and then Josh Rosen. My reasoning for these are, I have reasons for them. It's not just because I don't like certain people, except that maybe kind of the reason why I didn't put Josh Rosen at the bottom. So for number 1, Sam Darnold, I think he's the NFL build. He's a big guy. He can throw well. He maybe not throw 100% accurately, but he can throw well. He's mobile enough to get a first down. But the way I look at it is Deshaun Watson, he threw a lot of picks in college, and look in the NFL, he's tearing it up until he got hurt. But obviously that's only halfway through his rookie season, so we don't really know a whole lot, but he actually was really good, it seemed like. So then also you have Marcus Mariota on the other hand, who threw like 2 picks his whole college career, and in the end last season in the NFL he threw more picks than touchdowns. So picks don't really matter a whole lot in college. Sam Darnold, he threw a lot of touchdowns, also threw a lot of picks, so it'll be definitely interesting to see how that translates, because he has the NFL build, and he's I think he's gonna be a good player. So next we have is Baker Mayfield, obviously the number 1 pick overall, going to the Browns. He's probably gonna have to play a year on the bench as the backup role, which is no problem, because he mentioned in an interview with Colin Cowherd that that the year he sat out against or for Oklahoma was, like, he said that was like the most important year he's ever had in football. And so this year it'll give him a chance to sit behind and a good quarterback to learn from. Tyrod Taylor kind of plays similarly, running, can throw the ball. But I think Baker will turn into a lot better of a player than him eventually once he gets his chance. And I think once he gets his chance, he's going to be really good. Like I said, he's the most technically skilled, but he's small. That's not really a huge problem, because Drew Brees, I know we're just like picking and choosing of what's right and what's wrong, because there's a lot more small quarterbacks that aren't good, but he's good. He's a small quarterback that is good, like Drew Brees. So I think he has potential, not necessarily to be Drew Brees, but I don't think he's going to be Johnny Manziel. Also, the last one, the biggest one, it's as cheesy as it sounds, it's a factor you can't just mark in a draft combine, is his heart. Like, as stupid as it sounds, he can win. He knows what to do to win games. He wants to win games. He's out there to get his teammates fired up. Everything he does, that's something the Browns need. They are just a team that is on the brink of disaster every year, and so they have a player that can just rally them together, just get out there, win some games. That's what they need. The next one we got here is Josh Allen. He's my 3rd pick for the top quarterbacks in the draft. He's big guy, has got a cannon for an arm, and he just he's not super mobile, but he's a big guy, big NFL quarterback, can be. Might need a few years to get some refining skills down, but I do believe he can be a strong player. They're saying he could be like the next Jamarcus Russell, which is obviously possible, or be the next I saw one as Jay Cutler. I was like, okay, that's not very fair. Like Jay Cutler isn't good. So um, I think he'll. My prediction is he could be the next like Big Ben, and that's obviously far. He has to be really good for that. Not everyone's just a Hall of Fame quarterback, but Big Ben's good, big guy. It's just hard to tackle him, and that's something that just you can't measure like how convenient and helpful that is in the NFL. Like if you're big and you can take hits without getting hurt too much, then that's super super good. Um, Next one we got is Lamarcus. Lamarcus, I read Jamarcus. Lamar Jackson. Uh, my thing for him is he's obviously super mobile, so he knows he can get out of situations, so he'll take less sacks, I guess, because he, out of all the players here, um, I would say he probably had the worst team with him. Lamar Jackson took a team that was just terrible, no defense, and their line was just better, a little better than Swiss cheese. It was Swiss cheese, and it was just awful. So he made that team look good because of how talented and skilled he is. So I think if he can do that in college, um, he's just mobile. He can throw the ball, throw it on the run, all things that can be helpful in the NFL. With how it's getting to be a faster game, and everyone's getting better. That's just an interesting. He'll be an interesting project for the Ravens, I think, because it'll be completely different than Joe Flacco, who can't move more than 2 feet without huffing and puffing. And my last one is Josh Rosen. A little bit of this one is just because I don't like him. I don't think he's just he's a jerk and he's just not cool. So I don't like the fact that he said that, oh, I'm not playing for the Browns. Like I wouldn't want to play for the Browns either, but like you're getting drafted. Like it doesn't matter where you go. It's all to be like you just want to make it to the league. So it doesn't matter what team you're playing on. That's just if you're too good for a team, I just don't like that. He's got a good arm, accurate arm, big guy, like or pretty decent sized guy, but I just don't think he's not like strong enough to make it. I just don't think I think he of all the players that have been touted so highly, I think he has the biggest potential to be a bust. Because like Sam or Josh Allen can be, but he's like, oh, we know he could be a bust. But I think that Josh Rosen has the biggest potential to actually be a high-rated player that can be a bust that people don't think is going to be. So that's my top five. Goes Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and then Josh Rosen. So our last one we got here is places that I think Kawhi will be traded to, or not the last one, but another one. Places I think Kawhi will be traded to. Best options for him and best options for the team, for the like Spurs, I guess. So we have my number one spot for both teams to be is the 76ers. They have two obviously super bright young futures in Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And then they also have Markelle Fultz, but they seem to do all right without him. So they could always use an upgrade over Robert Covington. And I think Kawhi could be just that guy because they could trade what I would offer them is I would trade Markelle Fultz because they clearly don't need him. And then possibly Dario Saric. And the reason why is because I think that could be enough for Pop to be like, all right, let's see what we can do here. Because that's like Pop doesn't really have explosive point guards, but can you imagine how amazing he could make Markelle Fultz if he can stay healthy and turn into a player that like the scouts and stuff think he's going to be? Because he is explosive and he can be. I think he can be a pretty good player still. He's not out of it just yet. And then Pop can make him amazing. And then just Dario Saric, he's an interesting prospect for Pop because he's not someone that's always like he's not great, but Pop has a knack for making average players amazing. And I think Dario Saric fits Pop's style of like, he can take it down low, but Dario Saric can also develop an outside game, and that's something that Pop could really use. So for both sides, I think Pop getting Saric or Markel Fultz could be interesting because he could be making them super dangerous. And then also um, having an upgrade over Robert Covington for the 76ers with Kawhi, um, Ben Simmons, and Embiid and Kawhi down lowish, like kind of low. That'd be so dangerous for defensively just to try to get through there. Um, so the next one I have is these are all trade destinations for the East because they say that they don't want him to trade him to the West. So the next one I have is Boston. Now I think for Kawhi, Boston would be amazing, probably arguably the best place for him. But for Boston, it'd be terrible. They already have an overload of small forwards. They are overload small forwards with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, and they're all like good in why they have them. So like Gordon Hayward, he's proven he can lead a team in Utah. They're not great, so like, but he made them good, a playoff team. They also have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who are like they're young, and the way they performed in the playoffs, other than Jaylen Brown's Game 7 performance against the Cavs, the way they performed in the playoffs is like it was honestly remarkable. It's a rookie and a second year, and they took the LeBron, arguably the greatest player of all time, to 7 games, and so like the chemistry they have together that they're already building is something that you can't just take that away. So I don't think that that Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge would be willing to trade any of those three. So Kawhi would not fit there. The last one I have, other than I have a sleeper pick, but the other one for Kawhi to be awful is Cleveland because if LeBron leaves, that team is terrible. You have Kevin Love, okay, and your next best player is a rookie point guard. So either way, it's not looking promising. You need LeBron because that team can't win without LeBron. It's been proven before LeBron got there, after LeBron got there, after LeBron left, and then whenever LeBron's hurt, they can't win a game. So it doesn't matter if you have Kyrie, Kevin Love, whoever, J.R. Smith. It doesn't matter. You're not winning games. They can't win games. They're not good. Also, I don't think Kawhi wants to be stuck with the only other like decent player is a power forward, which he had in the Spurs of LaMarcus Aldridge. So a decent power forward, but you have a way worse coach. Ty Lue is obviously not Craig Popovich. So Kevin Love, I believe, I mean, he's regressing, and it's just he's not who he used to be and what he can't like, with injuries and like just average play, he can't carry that team. So I will believe that Kawhi should want to go there or will go there. My last sleeper team is the Indiana Pacers. Yes, I'm a Pacers fan, but the reason why I say this is they need a good small forward to just finish, I guess, that would be the term. Like they took the Cavs to 7 games. They don't have an overload of small forwards. They have Bogdanovich, and that's about it. They have Glenn Robinson III, but he's hurt all the time, so that's not gonna do anything. And Bogdanovich is not, you're not the best, especially defender. Unlike Kawhi, they play defense in Indiana. The only thing I don't know how they're going to do is what they're going to trade for him. But if they can figure out a trade that does not involve Victor Oladipo, like Miles Turner and Sabonis, are dangerous. They can be. They haven't reached their potential yet. And Victor Oladipo, if you get someone like Kawhi that can take him off the ball, he can turn into be absolutely lethal. And so I think that would be a really good pick for Kawhi. They play defense. They're small town market, so he's used to it. And just, basketball. Like the Pacers originally drafted him, so I guess it's kind of funny. It would be kind of funny if he went back to where he's actually drafted. LeBron leaving Cleveland, probably. I'm just gonna go quick over this one. I think so, because unless the Lakers can get another star like Paul George, which I still don't know would be enough, because they have absolutely no one other than what would be Paul George, because Kyle Kuzma's all right, but a small forward again, and then Lonzo is, whatever. So I don't know if he's leaving. It's tough to gauge. I don't know. I think his kids and stuff will play a role, and I don't know if he wants to pack up his family and leave again. So The last little segment here is if I had 5 players without salaries, who would start a franchise with in the NFL? Who would they be? Now I have 5 picks here. Some of them I'm curious to know whether people agree or disagree with them. So let me know what you think. We've got number 1, Carson Wentz. Now this one has a little asterisk next to it because if he's healthy, then yes. Like if he's healthy, I want rookie or MVP candidate. Um, I want MVP candidate Carson Wentz that played in year 2. So year 2, he's already an MVP candidate, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, arguably the best quarterback in the league, and he's just absolutely phenomenal. Took that team to the Super Bowl, or took that team to the amazing record, and then obviously they finished it without him. But I think he's an easy choice. But if he is hurt and not who he used to be, Jared Goff is my next pick. He's really good. He's just getting better every year. Nice guy, good locker room. Same thing with Carson Wentz. I like the locker room guys, and it's just he's what you want out of a quarterback. He can stay in the pocket, throw the ball. He knows what to do out there. So my next pick we got is Von Miller. He's starting to get a little bit old, but he's so good. He can carry a defense by himself. He like that team was not good, and they didn't end with a good record, but like they'd be a lot worse if they didn't have him on defense. So he was pretty much the catalyst 100% for that the Super Bowl run, the MVP obviously. He can change games. Like there's not many defensive players that can change games and actually affect the outcome like crazy, and he is one of those players. Good locker room guy, young still somewhat, and just shred the offensive lines. Next pick, Jalen Ramsey, another year 2 guy, and he's a year 2 guy that is arguably the best corner in the league. So, like, I don't know. This was a pretty easy pick for me. He's locked down receivers like Julio Jones or Antonio Brown, gets a lot of picks. Doesn't really get any. He doesn't have off-field issues. He's obviously so young, second year, and he is just a dangerous corner. He's so good out there. He's just you can't. You gotta just sometimes you gotta be able to stop the good receivers, and that's gonna be a lot harder than because like receivers can toast garbage corners, but it's a lot harder for a running back to toast a crap line. So the next pick is Taylor Lewan because you win games in the trenches. This guy, big guy, man out there, like he's going to do what he needs. He's nice and young. He's been a Pro Bowler almost every year, and he gets in the way of people. He knows how to stop. Marcus Mariota has barely even been sacked because of the large part to this guy. He's young, so he's good. Not young, so he's good, but he does what he needs to, and I like the way he plays. And our last pick is Khalil Mack. I don't know. I'm not super into the fact that he's not there for his contract because of his contract, but my goodness, he is a good player. He's just like it's hard to just deny how good he is. If you pair him up with Von Miller, that would be an absolute machine on defense. It would just be insane. That guy is so good. Pairing him up with Von Miller it's like he's been a Pro Bowler every year, so he's been a defensive player of the year in like his second or third year. I don't even know. He's just a man out there, and he knows how to. He made a not very good Raiders defense look like a bunch of all-stars because that dude was just carrying half the line against him. So half the offensive line was just going up to triple team this guy because he's so good. So I definitely think he would be my last pick. So there they have it, is Carson Wentz, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Taylor Lewan, and Khalil Mack as my picks to start a franchise. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow Just My Take, subscribe to us, follow each of us on Twitter, and just have a great day. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.